Hello and welcome to the Sports Perspective. I'm Hayden Grove.
And I'm Jordan Elwood. Hayden, the Buckeye basketball coming off two big losses. What do you think about those?
Yeah, the Michigan State loss was a tough one, but they came back hard. And Ohio State played Iowa on Sunday, and I was there to catch all the action.
Following Ohio State's heartbreaking loss to the Michigan State Spartans in East Lansing, the Buckeyes hosted number 20 Iowa, who came up big in the second half to beat the Buckeyes by a final score of 84-74. In what started as a back-and-forth affair, the Buckeyes and Hawkeyes each played well for most of the first half, heading to the locker room tied at 35. The second half, however, was a different story. While the Buckeyes got out to a 9-point lead with just over 10 minutes left in the game, Iowa bounced back with a string of three-pointers that got them right back into the thick of things. From that point forward, Ohio State couldn't find the rhythm offensively as the Hawkeyes hit free throw after free throw en route to a victory. Following the game, the Buckeyes felt that the game was theirs for the taking and that the loss falls on no one else but themselves.
It's on us. We knew they were going to press, knew they were going to do what they did, and we just weren't ready to take care of the ball.
You know, obviously we didn't make the plays we needed to not only maintain the lead but win the basketball game. A lot of times I don't even look at this. I look at the scoreboard. Don't get me wrong, but it's more of staying with what we're doing and how we're doing it. And you know, we didn't have offensively the connection we needed for whatever reason. I don't know what that was.
I think it was just all on us, man. We had to make shots. People throw up that zone sometimes, and I think we forget what we do in practice, and we just got to bring that to the game.
Ross, who sat on the bench for most of the second half against Michigan State, bounced back to lead the Buckeyes with a team-high 22 points on Sunday afternoon. He said, however, that ultimately it's all about the team.
Well, we lost, so I really want. I try to do what I can to help the team win. That's it. Like, if scoring is what I do to help contribute to this team, so that's what I try to do, and also go on the other end and try to play defense.
While the Buckeyes have fallen on tough times as of late, Coach Mata said that he's not concerned with his team as there's still a lot of basketball left to play.
This is college basketball. It's hard. It's a long season, and there's a lot of ups and downs to it. But it's you know, picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and going back into battle.
After their second consecutive loss on Sunday afternoon, the Buckeyes will travel to Minneapolis to take on the Golden Gophers on Thursday. For Buckeye TV, I'm Hayden Grove.
It was an eventful week in the Big Ten men's circuit. Minnesota almost upset the number 5 Michigan State Spartans. However, the Spartans took control in overtime to win with a score of 87-75. In State College, the 11-5 Indiana Hoosiers kept Penn State winless in the Big Ten play with a close 79-76 victory. On Sunday came another big upset as number 23 Illinois traveled to Evanston to get upset by 8-9 Northwestern to a score of 49-43.
As their male counterparts had a rough go of it this past week, the Lady Buckeyes secured what could have been their biggest win of the season in Bloomington, Indiana, by handing the number 22 ranked Indiana Hoosiers their first loss of the season by a score of 70-51. Amaris Alston led the game with 29 points on the night. Alston was later named the Big Ten Player of the Week for her performance. After their win in Indiana, the Lady Buckeyes moved to 2-1 in the Big Ten and to 12-7 overall.
When we return, we'll discuss how the Ohio State men's hockey team fared in a weekend series with the Michigan State Spartans. Stick around. Ohio State men's hockey took on the Michigan State Spartans for a back-to-back series this past weekend, and Buckeye TV sports director Franz Ross was there to take in all the first part of the action.
Whether it was in the Big Ten Championship or last week's basketball game, Michigan State has had Ohio State's number. However, that changed Friday night when Ohio State defeated the Spartans 5-3 in Value City Arena.
You know, offense is easier to play. It's more fun. Defense is tough. It's grunt. And it takes a real commitment and a real blue-collar mentality. And at times we were pretty good, but too much of the time we weren't.
It was back and forth. They had momentum. We had momentum. They had us on our heels. But, I mean, we got a group of guys in our room that basically it's never die no matter what. And I think you saw that even though they scored late there in the second.
After Michigan State scored 3 goals in the second period, Ohio State trailed 3-2 going into the third period. However, it was junior forward Nick Otto who quickly shifted momentum with a goal 17 seconds into the third.
Yeah, I mean, I just try to get around the net as much as I can. That's where goal scorers go. I mean, the puck's always around there, and sometimes it happens to find me and fit it in.
Big time goal, it was just not only to tie the game, but I thought for momentum, our bench, the building, I mean, we just felt it. And, to go out there and answer the bell like that after they scored late, that's what it takes.
It was junior forward Ryan Zingle who solidified a Buckeye victory with 2 third-period goals. Zingle ended up with a hat trick on the night, the second of his career.
18's an awfully good player. We were obviously aware of that and didn't do a very good job on him tonight.
I just think, obviously, my line mates have a lot to do with it, and shooting the puck finally. Last year and early in the season, I didn't shoot that much, and I'm just finding a way to get it on net and hoping it would go in.
It was nice to see these guys go out there. The one thing about our team is it's been different guys all the time. Ryan might be on the score sheet quite a bit, or Nick, but it's been different guys all the time for us. But certainly this line tonight was big time for us, and tomorrow night might be somebody else.
For Buckeye TV, I'm Franz Ross.
After the Friday night win, Ohio State got back to business on Saturday night in another matchup with the Spartans. This time, however, the outcome was quite different. As regulation ended with both teams tied at 1 apiece, the Buckeyes and Spartans headed to overtime but were unable to score, sending the game into a shootout. The shootout started with a quick goal from the Spartans and a miss from the Buckeyes that gave Michigan State an early advantage. After saves from both goalies, the Buckeyes were on their last legs as Tanner Fritz took the puck down the floor and scored an unlikely goal to give the Buckeyes hope. That hope was short-lived, however, as Michigan State scored twice and goalie Jeff Hildebrand saved 2 shots to give the Spartans the shootout win. After some tough luck in prior shootouts, Hildebrand was relieved that he was able to help his team salvage a couple of points.
There was a long streak that ended against Minnesota where I think I lost nine shootouts in a row. And then we had that Michigan Tech one where that was a heartbreaker. So, just wanted to bounce back. And, shootouts can go either way, but luckily we were fortunate enough to win this one.
Overall, Ohio State head coach Steve Rohlik was proud of his team's effort and is looking ahead to the rest of the Big Ten schedule.
Well, we have 4 out of 6 points. I think that's a positive. We found a way to come back again tonight. That's both nights in a row. We're down going into the third, and we clawed back into it. So I think there's some real positive signs. Our team knows that we got to get better. As soon as you think you're there, you're satisfied, you're going to start going in the wrong direction. So, I told the guys I look forward to seeing them in the office on Monday, and we're going to get back to work, and we really look forward to playing that team somewhat out west next week.
While the men were skating on their home ice, the Ohio State women's hockey team was up in Minneapolis facing the #1 ranked Minnesota. The Golden Gophers shut out the Buckeyes 6-0 in the first game. However, Ohio State answered back in the second game by tying Minnesota and winning the shootout with a goal from sophomore Kendall Curtis. OSU's tie against the Golden Gophers marks only the second time in the last 71 games that Minnesota's women's hockey team has failed to win.
After the break, we're talking both NFL and NCAA football and taking a look at next week's Ohio State athletic action. Stay tuned. After a phenomenal wildcard weekend, it was time for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs to take place. First, the New Orleans Saints looked to upset the mighty Seahawks on a rainy day in Seattle, but came up short as the 12th man helped to cheer the home team to a 23-15 victory. Later that night, the New England Patriots, in another rainy affair, took care of the Indianapolis Colts by a final score of 43-22 to secure a place in this weekend's AFC Championship game. On Sunday, the San Francisco 49ers traveled to Charlotte, North Carolina to take on the Carolina Panthers and took home their second consecutive road win with a score of 23-10. Finally, Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos beat the San Diego Chargers 24-17. However, the game was much less close than the score would indicate. This weekend's matchups between the Broncos and the Patriots, as well as the 49ers and Seahawks, will determine who makes the first cold weather Super Bowl in New Jersey.
While the college football season may have officially ended after Florida State raised the crystal ball in Pasadena, the seemingly annual coaching carousel began its off-season run, hitting the Big Ten particularly hard. For the Buckeyes, defensive line coach Mike Vrabel left his alma mater to take an NFL job with the Houston Texans. Meanwhile, in that state up north, Brady Hoke fired offensive coordinator Al Borges and snatched up former Alabama offensive coordinator Doug Nussmeier in an effort to revitalize the Michigan offense. Finally, former Vanderbilt head coach James Franklin was hired to replace Bill O'Brien as the head coach of the Penn State Nittany Lions.
As the coaches came and went, there were some NFL decisions made by some of college football's best players. Quarterbacks Johnny Manziel, Blake Bortles, and Teddy Bridgewater decided to forego their final collegiate season to enter the 2014 NFL Draft. Each of the three is expected to be a top 5 selection. Receiver Sammy Watkins, who helped Clemson Tigers to defeat Ohio State in the Orange Bowl, also decided to enter the NFL Draft and is expected to be a first-round selection. For the Buckeyes, cornerback Bradley Roby and linebacker Ryan Shazier made their intentions officially clear as each will enter the NFL Draft in May.
It's going to be a busy week in OSU athletics. On Friday, the men's hockey team will participate at the Hockey City Classic when they face off against number 1 ranked Minnesota in an outdoor game at TCF Stadium. Women's hockey will be heading up to Minnesota again this weekend when they face off in a weekend series against Minnesota Duluth on Saturday and Sunday. Finally, the number 11 ranked men's basketball team will continue on the road as they journey to Lincoln to take on Nebraska on Monday at 7.
Well, Jordan, Ohio State made some big hires this week, replacing Mike Vrabel with Larry Johnson Sr. from Penn State and bringing in Chris Ash, who was the defensive coordinator at Arkansas. What do you think of these hires?
I think they're huge hires for Urban Meyer, and the fans really wanted to see a change on defense, and I think next season they're going to get it.
Well, that sounds great. Thanks so much for watching this week.
Make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Have a good evening.